You can't, and no pun intended, continue to kick this problem down the road. We are the elected leaders of Brevard County, and we're not going to kick it down the road anymore. It ends now. I am not comfortable passing this tonight. So I'm issuing a challenge to the county, the municipalities, the EDC, everybody, and you, the community at large. Everybody's got to have skin in this game. We must have a comprehensive plan that clearly defines our need, and I spoke on that when I was a candidate. You have to focus on needs. Wants are wants, needs are needs. I think a number of people have said that tonight. We do have to focus on needs. So we have to define the need. I think the need currently, and I think it's predominantly, that we have to maintain these roads, but we're also going to have to repair them, and that's going to be expensive. So we must all contribute to the solution. There can be no sacred cows. We need to get creative in finding money. Everyone must give something. And if we have to gore everybody's ox, that's what we're going to have to do. There's going to be an awful lot of unhappy people. When we get done with this, I guarantee you, we have to look at all the solutions, and we're going to have to make tough decisions. And there's going to be an awful lot of people that aren't going to be happy. But as I said in the recorded message that was played up here before, if you build surplus, then you don't get into these problems. But we don't have a surplus, so we've got to start. We've got to start raising money so that we can get to that point where we have a surplus. But you can't get to a surplus until you fix the problems first. If you have a leaky roof, you can't just ignore it and say, well, I'll get to it later. I have plenty of buckets to catch the rainwater. Because eventually you're not going to have just a shingle to repair. You're going to have rotten wood. And then that's going to infect your walls and your windows. So you're looking at big, big bucks. So the earlier you start to fix the problem, the earlier you can start building a surplus. So we must commit to identifying a dedicated revenue stream for these roads. And I believe we can do that in a workshop setting. We invite you, the public. We'll be there, I guarantee you. We're going to hear a lot of things that we've already heard, but there may be some things that you folks haven't heard. So until these issues are addressed, I move to table the vote on any tax increase to Brevard citizens.
I second.
Okay. We got a motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Teeny. Discussion. Commissioner Barfield.
If we do what you're talking about, what I'd like to see added is we set a time and date for when we're going to make sure we come down to making a decision. Because what's happened in the past, it's easier to be put off by put off by put off. But I'd like to see a certain date and time that by this date we are going to make final decisions.
I agree with that. I think that the sooner we get moving on this, the better. I'm all for starting this thing as soon as possible. I would say that if we can't come to a decision by February 1st, that we should. So would you feel comfortable with February 1st?
Yeah.
The rest of the board?
Let me,
if whatever we do isn't going to take place until January 1, 17. So, but we need to focus on this and move it forward as quickly as possible. So I would say that we have to be in a position as a board to have however many workshops we determine that we need, 1, 2, 102, whatever. And we have to have that decision made by February 1st of 2016.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, there's a suggestion at one of the workshops. I don't know how many it takes, but all the options that are being considered, I think it would be important to include the cities and municipalities one way or the other. I don't know if we could even do it at a TPO meeting, so we don't have to do an additional. Maybe after a TPO meeting, add on another hour. I think those end at 11. Just, I don't have to be the first workshop or the second, but at some point, just since I represent so many municipalities, I'd like to have them at the table at some point. If you guys are okay with that.
I think that's a good idea also. For those of you that don't know what a TPO is, that's the Transportation Planning Organization, and they're heavily invested invested in roads and planning. I serve on that board with the other commissioners, and I can tell you, I'm just astounded how the plans for roads are planned 25, 35, 40 years in advance. So it would be an excellent idea to add them.
If we want to, y'all want to workshop it, we can workshop it. I can tell you, you're not going to learn anything in a workshop that you haven't learned already. You got a revenue problem. And you don't get the same amount of revenue that surrounding cities get. Volusia, Osceola, Orange, and Indian River in several counties. They have other tax things that are available to them. They have a public service tax. You don't have it in this county. They don't have limitation on their charter. They have an extra sales tax. They have an extra local gas tax. So we can keep sitting here and we can play around. I've been at this game long enough. This has been my 7th budget cycle. I've seen exactly what I've seen today. We're gonna kick it down the road. We're gonna try to make a decision and a few more workshops. I hope we do, if that's where the board wants to go. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, unless you're going to start addressing additional revenue, we're wasting each other's time. And it is, and you want to talk about cuts? I have been involved in every one of those cuts. I've been involved with the 2,700 to the 2,300 employees. I've been involved with shifting health costs to those employees. I've been involved in shutting hours down on libraries, cutting grass in parks. And you know what? I'm going to tell you what I feel about it just right out of the box. I'm not interested in cutting a park, a library, a CRA, or anything else so I can fill a pothole. They're not going to do it. It's the quality of life in this community is too important to mess around because we've got 200 people that sent emails to us and out of 500,000 and saying, you know what? I don't want my gas tax to go to 6%. Surrounding counties are paying it, and we have a revenue issue, and you can go to any statistic or anywhere you want to go. We can go to Public Works and say, how much does it cost Brevard County to maintain a road per mile? They do it for $14,000. Osceola does it for $60,000. You know, so we're efficient. We're efficient in that chart. We're efficient in what we're charging taxes. We're lower than everybody else in millage rate. And the bottom line is we don't have a revenue source to do it. And so workshopping it is great. I'm a team player. We can sit down there and talk around it, but you got to tell the people the truth. And I'm telling you, you got a revenue issue, and you got to raise your taxes, and you got to raise the revenue. And let's stop screwing around with it, and either bite the bullet or wait till I get out of office and do it. But I don't need it. I mean, shit. You know. So, well, okay. Well, you might think that, but I don't. And I got elected twice representing what I'm telling you, sir. So you bring the 200 shirts out. That's what happened in this environment. And everybody's scared. Let's go. You're going to try to call Commissioner Smith out. Commissioner Smith is a darn good commissioner, and he's smarter today than he was the day he ran for office. And he has more facts today than he had when he ran in office. And that's the problem when you get in this office. People try to live up to campaign promises and don't even know what promises they should be making. So, well,
excuse me. It's my turn to speak. I've been waiting. Yeah. My light is on.
Go.
The reason why we have a revenue problem is because we make expenditures without knowing where the money's going to come from.
Yeah, right.
And if we're going to keep spending
this is the crowd.
$8 million up in North Brevard without knowing where it's going to come from. We didn't have this crisis when we were dealing with the budget. I didn't see any of the yapping and talking about this road tax. And you want to attract business? Here you go. Florida, 7th highest in gas tax in the nation. Their businesses, why don't you come see us? Guess what? We're raising our tax even more. What's wrong with us? We want businesses to come. And instead of bribing them to get here, why don't we be the most business friendly? Why don't we look at our permit process? Why don't we look at our tax structure and attract all businesses? So you keep getting upset. As long as we spend money in District 1 is a happy camper. But I'll tell you what, we don't want to keep spending all of our money at District 1 and then go back to you guys, the taxpayers, and say, pay up a little bit more because we ran out of money because we gave so many cash upfront bonuses in the North Brevard Economic Zone. It has got to stop. And a workshop is another word for let's pass it off to another few months. I'm in it with Mr. Fisher. I don't even see a need for a workshop because you know what? If this were so darn important, we would have discussed it during the budget and we would have nailed it down right then and there. But it comes up now. That's wrong. That's just plain wrong.